Welcome back to the Immigration Answer Show. It's your old boy, Jim Hacking. This is episode number 367 of the Immigration Answer Show. I will be here for the next hour answering your immigration law-related questions. I hope you all are having a good week. Sorry that I haven't been here. I've been traveling. I went up to Chicago to talk to the international students at Northwestern University, which I greatly enjoyed, and I made a lot of new friends. I have a special guest with me here today. I'm very excited to have him here. I think you guys will get a kick out of him. And he also has a kick-ass microphone, which means his voice sounds like a late night talk show host. His name's Paul Davis. He's one of our, well, actually, he's the head of our intake team now. He's intake attorney, Paul Davis. Paul, welcome to the show.
What's going on, Jim and everybody? Glad to be here.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody? Let them know a little bit about you. Some people may have even spoken to you. Go ahead and tell them sort of how you spend your day, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. So Paul Davis, as you can see, been practicing immigration law for about 6 years now, with hacking for about a year, about to celebrate that 1 year anniversary. I spend most of my day with hacking, answering calls that come to us through a bunch of different channels. After an individual speaks with our intake specialist, they come to me and I help figure out if we can help them or not, and send them on their way and get them started with us. So lots of people talk to me, and lots of people also think that I'm Jim because they can't see me. So
that's funny. You didn't tell me that. So talk to us a little bit tell everyone about what our intake team, how they're made up, and sort of what the different roles are in the department.
Yeah, so we have kind of three different tiers. We have individuals who are taking initial phone calls. They're called our CCD department. And then if they think it's a case we can help with, they go to our intake specialists. And there's, I believe, 6 intake specialists right now. And they will ask further questions, ask a little more detail about your immigration case. And if the person's interested in talking to an attorney and ready to get started on their case, then they send them to one of our attorneys. So you'll speak to the main attorneys are me, and then our other intake attorney is Ryan Settles. He handles a ton of calls. And then you might also get to speak with Jim every once in a while, or one of our operations attorneys.
Nice. And how did you initially get interested in immigration law?
Yeah, so I went to law school to help people, which is very vague. And then I had a bunch of jobs that weren't doing that. And I kind of fell into working for a nonprofit doing immigration law, and loved it, and loved the sort of direct contact with people who really needed help in a very complex area of law. And so, yeah, and it just kept growing from there.
So we've had almost all the other attorneys in the firm on the show. We haven't had you and Ryan on yet. So would it be okay with you? Are you cool with hanging out for the hour and answering questions with me?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Awesome. Cool. So I'll let you take the first stab, and then I'll jump in after. Okay.
Sure.
Awesome. Yeah, everyone's right. Paul does have a great voice for radio. Here's Lewis. Hello, Lewis.
Hey, Jim. Hey, Paul. How you doing?
What's going on, Lewis? How you doing?
Very good. Very good news, in fact. In a record 3 months, my green card is now with me. So I went from nothing to L1A, got here, stayed here for a month or so, did the EB1C, and in something like 88 days got the approval. So awesome. Really very, very happy indeed.
That's fantastic.
Amazing. Well, congratulations.
But so sometimes folks come on the show and they say they've got a question for Jim that he hasn't heard before. And Jim smiles, and then 99 times out of 100, he has heard the question, and it's a pretty mundane question. So, Jim, I've got a question for you that perhaps you haven't heard before.
Okay, lay it on me.
I'm extremely grateful for all you do, Jim, and all that you do to help all of us. And I know that my process went so much faster through the learnings that I had through a year of watching this show, and not just relying on the law firm which the company uses. So as a way of giving back to you and to the wider community, here's my question. would you allow me to pay for the fees of somebody who comes to your firm and can't afford to do it?
That's really generous of you, Lewis. And actually, we have someone doing that right now. And we had people do that before. One of our first I don't know if I ever told Paul this. One of our first lawsuit clients, he was so happy with what I did. He left me $10,000 to pay the fees of a couple other people that came behind him. And so we did that, and that was very well received. And right now there was a lady who came on the show, I don't know if you remember, about a month ago, and somebody wrote in and they're paying half their fees. So yeah, that's a very generous offer, Lewis. We would definitely take you up on that, because there's definitely people that we would like to help that can't always afford it.
Awesome. I don't mind whether it's a lawsuit or a green card, just somebody deserving. You let me know, and I'll send you the cash.
That'd be great. If you could just email over and remind us. Yeah, that's a really amazing offer, Lewis. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Keep it up, guys. Thank you.
Bye, buddy. And congrats on the green card.
Thank you.
Well, how about that? What a great way to start the show. Huh? That's
amazing. We'll take 10 more like that.
Yeah, for sure. It'll help out a lot of people. But thank you to Lewis. That was great. And Lewis has called in before, so I was glad to see him and glad to hear about that. So let's say hi to One Day. What do you say, One Day?
Hey, Jim. How's it going?
Good.
Do you mind if I just stay off camera?
That's totally fine.
All right, cool. Just a quick one for you. I've got my cousin that's been here on a B1, B2 for about 3.5 months. He's going through a EB3 process. He was qualified by the State Department back in May 2021. He's pretty much just waiting for an interview. Now, that's been taking quite some time, because he started the process back in January 2020. That's with labor certification. Now, he's been here for 3.5 months. So he was trying to find out, would it be possible to do an adjustment of status while he's here on a B1, B2? Would that be possible?
Mr. Davis?
So his EB3 was approved by USCIS. It's with the State Department now. Is that right?
Right. Just waiting for an interview.
Yeah. I mean, this one makes me a little nervous because he filed the I-140, for the EB3, which declares that he wanted to come here permanently. And then he entered on a B1, B2, which is saying that he was coming here temporarily. So I don't think I would recommend. I think that you could probably find an attorney that would say we'll do it, but I don't know if I would recommend it. I think it's going to cause problems and potentially lead to them denying it for misrepresentation. Potentially, that's pretty conservative, but that's what I would be concerned about.
Me too.
Okay,
I have the same concerns. Yep.
So best advice is just wait for the interview.
Yeah, I mean, he's so close. He's so close to getting it done. Why raise an issue when? Which embassy is he waiting on?
This is in Kenya.
So it's documentarily qualified. He's just waiting for the interview itself.
Just for the interview. That's it.
What's the position?
What do you mean?
What's the job that he's supposedly?
It's an unskilled position.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what the only reason I asked is because that embassy in Kenya is probably going to be pretty. They probably haven't handled many EB3 immigrant visa cases. I would imagine that's something that they don't see very often. So he might get some trouble at the embassy. But I think Paul's concerns are right, that with the entry and with the trying to adjust and not being related to a U.S. citizen and not doing it through marriage, I'd be very reluctant to try to pull this off.
Okay. And would it be possible, or is this a case that would qualify for a lawsuit, just kind of like to expedite the interview, or is it just pretty much just a waiting game?
When did it get documentally qualified?
May 2021.
Yeah, I mean, that's 2 years. That's a long time. I guess my only question then would be, because I don't keep track of the pace of cases in Kenya. Are other people with more recent cases getting interviews?
The ones that he knows about, it's been EB3, but the skilled positions. A lot of nurses getting interviews. Some as close as I think last year November. People who probably started the process or at least got the process going sometime last year have actually done interviews and gotten their green cards already and moved to the States.
So somebody might not like the case.
Okay.
So maybe a lawsuit. Yeah, I would say soon, if not now. Yeah, I mean 2 years, don't you think, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I think we could do it. As always, the lawsuits, we can't guarantee it's going to move the case forward. But yeah, I mean, it's the correct timeline for filing a lawsuit. Yeah.
Okay. Just to clarify, so you can actually sue for you can actually do a lawsuit for an interview, to get an interview, correct?
You can. Now, one thing about lawsuits, so in about 5 to 7% of the cases, we get what are called motions to dismiss. And one nice thing that we use when we combat those is we point out that there's a U.S. citizen involved. And here it's not. It's a foreign national who wants to come work in the United States and get a green card based on that. So I think that the court and maybe even the State Department would view them a little less sympathetically than they would like for the father of a U.S. or the spouse and father of a U.S. citizen who's just trying to come and be with his family. So I think that case might be more likely to get a motion to dismiss.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe a caveat on that, because he's actually got kids who are U.S. citizens that were born here in the U.S. So would that help any, or not really?
Well, that makes me a little bit more concerned for other reasons, which is that maybe they're going to think that he's just doing this BS unskilled EB-3 immigrant visa to be with his family here, and that it's not really a legit job offer. Is it an arm's length transaction? Is the employer in any way related to the beneficiary?
No. The employer is 100% legit. It's actually a multi-million-dollar company. Okay, so it's legit. It's legit.
Yeah.
How old are his kids? What's his oldest kid?
12.
Okay. All right.
And the parent, that he's not married to the parent, to the mother.
No, the mother is not a U.S. citizen. The kids were just born here. That was about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
She's not a green card holder either.
No, she's not.
Okay. And are they in a relationship?
No, yes, they are.
And she's overseas with him?
Correct.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
So what do you think? Lawsuit?
I mean, here's the question. Are they willing to take a 90% chance that it's going to work its way through, or the 10% chance that it's going to be a motion to dismiss? It's going to cost like $5,000, over $5,000 to do it. Do they want to take that shot? We'll take that shot. The question is, do they want to take that shot?
I think he might, because just waiting for the 2 years. So he's, willing. I think he would be willing to take that shot.
Okay. All right. Well, just send us an email and say, my name's one day. I'm the guy with the cousin or the friend who has the overseas employment visa case in Kenya, and we'll go from there.
All right. Sounds good. I appreciate it.
Thanks for the call.
Thanks.
All right. You guys have a good one. Thanks. Bye.
You too.
Definitely hear different things every day, don't we?
Yeah. The EB-3 always makes me nervous.
EB-3 always makes me nervous, and definitely people who come on a visit visa and apply for adjustment on anything other than as an immediate relative makes me nervous. I took over and filed a lawsuit for a lady in Baltimore. Her mom had applied for adjustment. This is someone who had been in the United States for like 8 or 9 years. Mom applied for her for a green card once her date became current, but even that made me nervous.
Yeah.
Let's say hi to Brian.
Hey, good afternoon, guys.
What's going on, Brian? How you doing?
Good, very good. I want to ask you, I'm recently married. My wife's a foreign national. She's a Chinese Malaysian citizen and also a citizen of France. And she's here with me now on an ESTA. We've been spending as much time together as we can, 30 days at a time over the past year and a half. 90 days. I was corrected. The thing, we were planning to do the I-130 and go through consular processing, and we thought really that was the only option available to us. And talked to a lawyer today who says that if you overstay the 90 days and there's no longer an assumption that you misrepresented anything, you could just do an adjustment of status. And they seemed very confident this would work and that we wouldn't have to separate for 12 to 15 months and go through this. But it's the first time we're hearing about it, and it made my wife a little uncomfortable because we don't know much about that process. Yeah. Well, consular processing is what we've been looking up. This new idea is totally new to us and makes her very uncomfortable to break the rules because we've been trying to stick to definitely always getting her out of the country before 90 days is up. We didn't want to, cause complications later in this. And now we're hearing we might be able to stay together and not cause a problem that we would have to overcome later. And it's very tempting because I don't want to split up if we can help it. But I don't know much about it. Does that sound like a reasonable idea to you guys that we wait for
Yeah, I mean,
wow.
The issue is intent. And generally, USCIS is going to see events that occur within the first 90 days of entering. And they're going to measure those to establish your intent, right? So,
okay.
I mean, what you just described to me is she entered on a non-immigrant visa,
right?
And then you guys learned about this process and you decided, we don't want to be separated. So, I think we've done these before, and that's an option for you. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's great news because we really thought the consular processing was our only option. We were been planning to do that the whole time. So we never misrepresented that. We honestly were ignorant of any other option, and we never.
That's great. And I was nervous the first couple of times I did these, but we've probably done 25, 30, and they've all worked out. So, one thing that I think helps is the fact that she's come and gone so many times on ESTA before.
Yeah, I thought so too. Twice before, and we have a record of leaving on time, which I thought I like that.
And then what I always do is I always just tell the clients, just blame the lawyer. Say it was only when we, like Paul said, it's only when we got here and we talked to the lawyer that we found out that this was even an option. We didn't even know. Is the I-130 on file right now or no?
No, we haven't done it because I thought I was going to have to wait for her to leave the country and file it on my own after she was gone. And so we've been waiting. And we wanted some advice on how to do that, and the lawyer brought up this adjustment of status.
Are you already legally married, or
Yes, we're legally married. March 14th was our marriage.
When did she enter?
March 22nd.
After our wedding in Denmark.
Yeah, after our wedding in Denmark, we came home together. It was like a wedding and honeymoon, and then we came home to try to put together our evidence together as a joint effort to have a really great submission pack. And then the plan was she was going to fly back overseas, and I was going to submit the packet as soon as she left.
You came to your home, not both of your home.
Correct, my home.
Right.
My home.
So does she still have all belongings and bank accounts and stuff back in Malaysia or wherever it is that she's living?
Yes. Yeah. We're trying to think about how to get that over here if we do this.
Yeah. So the other thing I was going to point out, the one thing that I just want to make sure you understand, and this goes to the nervousness issue, is that people that apply for a visa and go to the embassy and go through the trouble and get approved for a visa have more protections than people who enter on ESTA. So the one big way that's a protection is if you come on a visa and applied, and for some reason the case went off the rails, or if something else bad happened, it would be harder to deport your wife if she had entered on a visa than if she'd entered on visa waiver. There aren't the same protections. There's what's called expedited removal of someone who enters on ESTA. And in my mind, the way I think about it is, well, that sort of makes sense, because if she'd gone to the embassy and gotten a visa, then they would have had the chance to inspect her in a little bit more detail than when she comes on ESTA. But like I said, that hasn't come up yet, and I think you're gonna be fine.
Okay.
Well, I was stuck in the States, right?
But so she won't be able to travel home.
Right.
Okay.
So and then she gets that advanced parole.
Yeah, she's bubble girl for 8 or 9 months because she had to wait to marry, then she has to file, and advanced parole is really slow right now. So even if you guys applied next week, if she just entered, so she entered March 22nd, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, we won't be filing until the end of June or the beginning of July, according to this lawyer we talked to, because that's when the 90 days is up, and we have to change our.
that's overkill. If I were you, what I would do is I would file in that 60 to 90 day window, because it's the 60 days that get you in trouble. It's not the 90 days that get you in trouble. And to me, it's better to get her on file before the 90 days are up, not after.
Okay. So even if it was 89 days, say, we could.
But my vote is 61.
61. Okay. Okay. Well, that might be very soon.
Yeah.
Wow.
What could go wrong?
And my wife's question is, what could go wrong? Like, what are we risking if it goes sideways? Should we be barred forever? Are we going to lose the chance to do anything?
My vote is I don't come up with crazy hypotheticals that'll probably never happen, just because otherwise that's just going to stress her out. I really think it's going to be okay.
You think it'll be okay? Okay, great.
Yeah,
that's what we're.
If nothing else, this call you just had with us, which is on YouTube, is proof that you didn't come to me with this theory. It was the crazy lawyers that came up with it.
Yeah, we had no idea. We didn't. I really thought, basically, because she's on ESTA and doesn't have a visa, we couldn't do a adjustment of status because she doesn't really have a status that I'm aware of. So I didn't think it was an option. We just learned about it. I mean, this afternoon. You're the first people we talked to after we learned about it.
Awesome.
Yeah. See? Oh, and then consular processing is like, if you're turned down, that's it. There's no appeal.
Right. We have very, very little control over what happens overseas.
Yeah.
And don't forget, that's 2 years away.
Right. And then I also thought this attorney can be here with us for this interview and cannot be with my wife for consular processing somewhere else.
All true. And plus right now they're even waiving interviews. So lots of reasons to do it here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So might even waive the interview here. That's right. Because it's adjustment of status. It's not consular processing.
That's right.
I had heard that.
I always love it when there's the side character over on the
I know,
off camera directing all the questions.
Yeah, I get a lot of that now, but it's great. Okay. So I think the only thing we're asking, like, do you know the processing time? I guess it really depends on
which field office will you be at?
We're in Tampa, Florida, so it's right down here by.
It's a busy place, so probably 9 to 12 months. I would submit the medical and as much marriage evidence as you can, because that'll cut down on the chances of an interview and hopefully make the whole thing go faster.
Okay, that makes sense. Cool. All right, I think is that everything we need? Yeah, that's a great another big pile of information for us to consider. That's really, really helpful, and it's great that you guys agreed that that's probably a viable option, because we really hadn't considered it, and we're very excited that that's at least a possibility.
Awesome. Brian, have a good day.
Yeah, thanks. You guys too.
Bye, buddy.
Have a good one.
Yeah, we've handled a lot of those cases. The first one I had was up in Chicago, and I was a little nervous. The guy was in a what would you call it, like a death rock band, right? Like,
gosh.
Yeah. There's a picture here in the office because he had really long hair, and we took it. It's him and his wife and Obama. It's pretty funny in the Chicago office, but it got approved. But I was nervous.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
They probably didn't even ask about it though, did they?
Nope. No. In fact, I don't think they ever have. All right. You ready for another one?
Let's do it.
Let's say hi to Rochelle. Hi, Rochelle.
Hello.
Hi, Rochelle.
Good afternoon. Thank you for choosing me.
Sure.
So my situation is I came here as an international student. I received OPT after college. I'm now on my third year, and my work permit is expiring at the 31st of this month. I recently got married in December, and we filed for a new work permit as well. It's now been 5 months since we filed, and I still haven't received it. So my question is, am I allowed an extension period while I'm waiting on the new work permit?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't know the F1 rule on that though. I don't think so though.
No, that's a hard and fast rule. There's no extension of that because you have a new case on file.
When did you file exactly?
In December.
Okay. So we're almost 6 months then, right?
Right. And so my work permit category from OPT is C03B. I know some categories are allowed extensions while they're waiting for the new work permit to be sent to them.
But that's for renewal of that's for renewal of other kinds of work cards. Your work card is special because it's a OPT. There's no legal right to an extension beyond the 3 years. For the people that are getting the extension, it's for people who got it through asylum or through marriage, and for whatever reason their underlying case is taking too long, and it's taking them too long to do the work card. In essence, the way you need to think about it is your old EAD based off OPT is its own case, and this new case doesn't have any impact on that.
I see. Okay. Thank you so much. I assume that would have been the response. Thank you, guys. Have a good afternoon.
Can I say one other thing?
Absolutely.
So I just want to tell you what the law says. The law says that you can't work without permission, without work authorization, right?
Right.
And I assume you're probably at an employer who's like, hey, have you gotten that EAD extended? I know you have this marriage-based case, right?
Right.
So the law says that you can't work without permission, but the law also says that if you work without permission and you're married to a U.S. citizen and your green card is approved, then any work, let's say that you did between now or your green card interview, that's all forgiven as long as you're honest about it. So I say all that in the hypothetical, but if someone was to keep working beyond the end of their STEM OPT, if their employer would let them, and their green card case proceeds, that work without permission would all be forgiven.
Okay. And
Yeah, no waiver or anything. So it would be automatic.
didn't know that. I guess another question is is it legal then for a non-US citizen to start a business here?
Yes, that's my favorite. That's my favorite thing. I'm pretty aggressive on that, right? So like I believe that someone on an F1 can own property, collect rent, start a business. The only thing they can't do is work for that business. So,
Okay.
Depending on how aggressive you want to be, I think if you really want to be aggressive, they could start a business and collect a draw as the owner of the business, but that's getting pretty close to work. So I think you got to be pretty careful.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Rochelle.
Appreciate it.
Bye
Have a good
bye.
day.
We're getting all kinds of good stuff today.
Yeah.
How
I'm
you
glad
doing?
you answered that business question because I get that every once in a while. I didn't have that answer ready like you did.
Well, I remember one time these three Indian kids from Wash U came in and they wanted to start a real estate business, and I was like, yeah, do it. But it all depends on your comfort level, because at someday you might have to explain yourself, and you're going to have to, show that you didn't take a salary. I think they're going to sort of assume you were working for yourself. So then it becomes sort of tricky. And what can you prove? And you got to keep really good records, I think.
Yeah, have a good accountant who knows immigration somehow.
Yeah, and David's right. They don't forgive the employer. That's true. So that's why I would never give that advice I just gave to an employee, but I'm not her employer's lawyer, right? But that's true. David is right. They would not forgive the employer. So that's a good point. Thank you for that, David. Let's say hi to Nurka. Hi, Nurka.
How's it going?
I'm sorry, I was mute. Hello.
How are you?
Hi,
Yeah,
how's it
I'm
going?
good. How are you? So I applied for immigration for my parents. They had the interview in Havana in January 20. And then they got refused under the administrative processing 221G. So we received an email asking for more information for a DS 355 form or
5535.
That one. We filled that up and sent it back right away. And also there was another form questioning about if they were or not they were involved in a communist party in Cuba.
And what was the answer to that question?
No, they have never been part of that. So we've been waiting since then. It's been like 4 months, right? January 20th till now. And that's it. My question basically is if there is anything I can do to rush that, or I don't know if you have any advice how to get that moving.
Yeah. Do you want me to take it, Jim?
Oh, sure, buddy. Yep. I'm going to let you go first.
All right. So when did the I-130 get filed? How long ago was that?
in 2021.
2021.
On October.
Okay.
But the case was closed in 2022, around like after a year.
So
on the
October
NBC.
2022.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they got the appointment for the interview January 20 this year. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so October 2022 is when it got approved and went to the National Visa Center. So the reason I'm asking that is because we file lawsuits on cases delayed, but we generally want them to be at least at the National Visa Center and the embassy for a year. So right now you're 5 months short of that. Okay, but the fact that they've had their interview is good, a good sign. And if you were calling in October, we'd say, go to our intake department and we can file a lawsuit. But right now, I think they're going to have to sit tight.
Yeah, the reason I'm kind of concerned is because the medical report, the medical thing, is going to expire in it's going to expire in 6 months. Like from January to it's going to expire next month, basically. So they will have to repeat it, and it takes like a long time to get that done and stuff. Oh, but
yeah, I'd plan on them having to do another medical.
They have to
if it's going to expire in a month. So yeah, oftentimes we do lawsuits.
Have you heard of these cases being denied or something like that for this reason, or in the interview?
For the medical?
No, for the whole thing. I don't know. When they received these forms, they got denied for some reason. I don't know.
Almost everybody who's refused gets the DS. Almost everybody, period, gets the DS 5535. It's basically busy work from the embassy to ask you for more information. So I would say don't take that as any bearing on whether they're going to approve or deny your case. And then the communist question, they're from Cuba, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, every single person from Cuba is going to get asked that question. And they're going to try to figure out if they're a part of the Communist Party. And maybe Jim, you have a little more current information, but I don't think that's really a basis for people getting denied in Cuba from Cuba right now.
I think you're right. The 5535, that's just a delay tactic. That's just to buy them time. So all my Cuban cases have always gone to Guyana. Their stuff is in Cuba, or it's
in Havana.
Guyana?
They just moved to Havana in January, so they got it in Havana.
Well, so that tells me that perhaps they don't know what they're doing, right? Like the embassy hasn't been there that long, and they might just be feeling their way, and they don't know. I mean, how old is your dad?
67, and my mom too is 65 and 67.
Yeah, well, I think they're more concerned with your dad than your mom, and it's probably because we got some old communist here. He's Cuban, so we got to slow walk this thing.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say
not denied.
I don't think it's going to get denied. I think you're okay there. I agree with Paul. If hopefully you won't have to wait this long, but if October rolls around and you still don't have a decision, then I'd sue him.
Okay, so the year from the case closed. Okay.
Year from when the State Department got it.
Would be like both cases at the same time, like
both cases at the same time. Yeah.
Yep. And in reality, it doesn't feel fast to you guys, but they got their interview pretty quickly. It was only about 3 months. Right.
Yeah.
So
I felt that.
Yeah.
It was great.
So sometimes that averages out. That's a good point, Paul. Sometimes that averages out. Like they go really fast and then they sit on it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to wait. Okay.
Thank you, Nyarka.
Good luck. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. So we got a very interesting comment here. Let me just put it up. Paul Davis is so handsome. That comes from
Daniel.
Our very own Daniel.
He just wanted a shout out.
Mm-hmm. Somebody else said up higher. They said Paul answers question like Dan answers. All right, let's say hi to Ashok. Hi, Ashok.
You're muted.
You're on mute.
Hi.
How's it going?
Yeah, good. How are you? How are you guys?
Great.
Hi. So Jim and Paul have questions. So let me give a brief overview of my case. So I'm in F1 OPT right now, and my spouse, my wife, she became a citizen recently, and we got engaged back in my home country 1 year ago, and I traveled after that to complete my graduation and eventually join for a work. So my question is, since I came here after my graduation, after my engagement, will that raise any questions on my immigration intent, or can I apply for an AOS?
What was what? Tell me about the conversation when you came through customs. Did they ask you any questions?
No, they asked me if I'm married. I was not married. I just got engaged. So
And
will that? Yeah.
and did they ask anything else?
No, they just asked me if I'm married or not. That's it. And by the time she was a green card holder, and she
Mhm.
recently became citizen. So
What do you
just a
think,
month.
Paul?
I mean, I don't think that's going to be a problem. I mean, you weren't married, you didn't have an immigrant visa, so get married and file the adjustment of status, and let's get you a green card.
Okay. I have some
Yeah.
more questions. Let me put it fast for you guys. So I'll be filing for AOS pretty soon, and I'll be also filing for my work card along with it. So I was just wondering, since my current work permit expires in the coming months, can I apply for my OPT STEM extension after I file for your AOS, or should I not do that?
Do it.
You
Do
can
both.
and you should. You can and you should. Every immigration benefit you're eligible for, you should apply for.
Okay. Okay, that sounds good. Sure. So will not block the other case, right? Like I mean, these two are exclusive things or inclusive?
I don't think they'll ever even cross. Like no one will even know it's you.
Yeah,
But I'm sharing the same account, online account number. Is it good?
Yeah,
Is
that's
it
fine.
fine?
Yeah,
that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And I have some doubts on the evidences. So, are affidavit of letters from third party or neighbors and joint bank accounts mandatory for evidence? Because we have been living together for almost 10 months now, and we have home mortgage, utility bills, shared costs, credit cards, insurance, and previous apartment lease as evidence for now. So, will that be suffice, or like should we have a joint bank account and an affidavit of letters from neighbors? So, is it mandatory?
Yeah, I mean, they look at everything together. So would it be ideal if you had a joint bank account? Yeah, absolutely. In their minds, any real marriage means you have one bank account. We all know that that's not true across all cultures, but that's what they want to see. So you're not married yet, so if you can join your bank accounts when you get married, do it. But it sounds like you have good evidence outside of that, and I think if I was talking to you, if you're coming in, I would say we could file even without that joint bank account because you have leases and you have a few other pieces of evidence that are important. So yeah, I would do it if you can. You want the strongest case, but if you can't for whatever reason, then I think you could still move forward probably.
Yeah, sure.
Paul's nice. I would insist that you have a joint bank account and that you use that joint bank account.
That's what I meant. You have to have one.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Sure. Yeah. We are actually planning on creating one, but since I'll be filing for AOS pretty soon, so I thought, will that will that we don't have much transaction in that, so that's the thing. Like we'll not be
Yeah.
having much transaction to so.
I mean, but the counterbalance to that is you might have an interview, and if you have an interview, and that interview is 10 months from now, if you open up that bank account right after you get married, then you're going to have 10 months of activity, and that's like Paul said, that's really good evidence.
Okay.
So you always got to think about the evidence that you have on file when you submit, and then the evidence that you bring to an interview or that you supplement, you upload later.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I'll take note of it, Jim. Thank you. And one more. I have two more questions. One more.
Okay.
One is related to this question about the public charge ground of inadmissibility under section 212A. So should I answer S to that? It's in 485. 485 form.
You mean the question that says, "Are you likely to become a public charge?"
Yes.
Do you have a job?
Yeah, I have a job. Yes.
And you have a college degree?
Yes, I do have.
So why would you ever become a public charge?
I had because I didn't know. It said family-based immigrants should give S as an answer. I had the same doubt, Jim. Like
you're hopefully you'll never become a public charge. So I think you can answer that question. No, I'm never going to become a public charge.
Oh, so even under section 212, right?
Right.
Got it. And the last question is, So in I-864 affidavit of support in Part 5 household size, so we are just 2 people in the household right now, and since my spouse is sponsoring me, so the count in the first item would be 1, and the person is not sponsored in the affidavit. The second and third question is kind of confusing me. So
Right.
so in total, if I that the third question states, if you're currently married, enter 1 for your spouse. But
So
since
Ashok, I'm gonna stop you just because a couple of things. Number one is I can't tell you how to fill out forms on the show.
Sure.
Number two, one of the great things about owning your own law firm or being the intake attorney is you don't have to fill out affidavits of support. So I actually don't know the answer to that. I know there's a lot of confusion about whether to put 2 or 3, but
Right.
that's all I can say about that.
Got it. Sure. Thank you so much, Paul.
Hi, Ashok. Good luck, buddy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Luck.
See ya. All right. Let's head to Patel. Hi, Patel.
How's it going?
You're on mute. You're on mute, Patel.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, thanks for choosing me. Going good.
Sure.
So basically, I am currently on a work visa and it is expiring in September. However, my employer has already filed an extension. So my first 3 years of H1 is expiring in September and my employer has already filed an extension. But last weekend, I got a DWAI. So, and it's as of now, it's open. I have been charged. I was arrested and charged and then released with a PR bond. So yeah, I will be having a court date on Monday. So I'm not sure whether in that petition do I have to let them know and how it overall it impacts my immigration.
Yeah. So have they already filed the extension?
Yes. So they did it yesterday, but the event occurred last week. So the LCA was filed sometime back.
Then the charges aren't finalized yet?
Nope. And it's in premium. So within 2 weeks, I did let the immigration attorney know that I did receive it. So if they want to include it in the petition, but
is this an H-1B or are you filing for a green card now?
Oh, H-1B.
Okay. So, and everything's already been filed, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, it probably will be brought up.
I can help.
Go ahead.
I can help with this. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
One of the amazing things, and in your case, Patel, one of the great things about the H-1B application is there are no questions about arrest.
Oh, okay.
There's no biometrics. There's no fingerprinting. I think they probably do a background check. Now, the bigger issue, what you need to think about right now is if it hasn't happened yet, sometime in the next 6 weeks, putting aside your renewal, you're probably going to get an email from the embassy once they find out that you've been arrested for DUI, not that you've been convicted, just that you've been arrested for DUI. And most likely they're going to say, Patel, your H-1B is revoked. You better bring your ass back home and come see us at the embassy. And you will not do that, right? So they're going to try to trick you and scare you into coming back home and going to the embassy to get a new stamp. Because you know what? They're not going to give you a new stamp because they don't like it when people get DUIs in the United States. It happens all the time on F1s, and I've seen it happen on H-1Bs. So that's something you need to think about. The next time you leave the United States, you're probably not going to come back unless and until you get a green card. So you're sort of stuck here because I don't believe that they might let you back in on one DUI if it's 5 years from now and you've got nothing else since then. But just the simple act of getting arrested for shoplifting or DUIs can get someone's non-immigrant visa like an F or a J or an H-1B revoked. And that would be a big problem for you.
Okay, so when they ask if they mail me, like say after 6 weeks, like you have to come back to the embassy, so I don't have to respond to that. I just have to ignore it.
You just tell them to fuck off. I mean, you don't really do that. You just don't do it. You just don't do it because it'll sound scary and it'll look official and it'll be a real email from the embassy. What embassy would it? What country are you from?
India.
Yeah, so that's the place I've seen it the most. So you can almost count on getting this. Did you originally enter on an H or did you originally enter on an F and then get OPT in an H?
Yeah, so I'm in US since 8 years now, and this is like my first time getting arrested. And before that, I just had one speeding ticket, which was 4 years ago. So I came on an F1 visa and then an OPT and now an H1, and it's third year of H1.
Yeah. So your life gets a whole lot harder if you go to Canada, go to Mexico, or God forbid, go back to India, because they're not going to let you back in, right? I think USCIS will extend your H-1B, no problem. If not, let me know, because that's something I'd really like to know. If they give you trouble about renewal, I don't think you're going to have a problem based on what I've seen in the past.
Okay.
Now,
So, okay,
there's something else I really want to talk about, okay? So your court date's on Monday, right? Do you have a criminal defense lawyer?
I was thinking I'll go on my own on the first date and then get a lawyer based on whatever the plea bargain I get or something.
So you're going to go there on Monday, and all you're going to do is tell the prosecutor and the judge, I need more time to get a lawyer. That's all you're going to do. Don't negotiate. Don't ask for a plea deal. Don't do any of that shit, because you're going to need a really good lawyer, right? And the thing is, when you hire your lawyer, you need to make 100% sure that they know you're an immigrant and that they need to do everything they can to help you, because you might be able to get the prosecutor to give you a little bit of a break, and that you don't get a full sentence that they would give to a U.S. citizen, because you and your attorney can argue to the prosecutor that this is really going to mess up your immigration status, which is true, right? And so you might be able to, depending on the jurisdiction and everything, to try to get a lesser charge, like not even an alcohol related charge, which would be amazing. But I've actually been able to have that happen before. One time I brought the summer intern with me to court, and I made the same plea. I've got a guy sort of like you. He's here as an immigrant. He's Bosnian. This is really going to mess up his ability to stay in the country. If he gets this DUI, can we work something out? And I swear to God, the prosecutor looks at the intern, and you can just tell he doesn't want to be a dick on the intern's first day. And he goes, oh yeah, well, we wouldn't want that to happen. And then he dismissed the charge. Now, I think my guy got pretty lucky, right? But you can't rely on a typical DUI attorney to handle this like a typical case. That's not what you want. You might have to pay extra to get some more love and some more attention, because they just want to go through the motions and plea you out like they do everybody else. That's not what you want. You want a criminal lawyer who understands the immigration consequences and uses those immigration consequences to try to get you a better plea. Might not work, but it's certainly worth a try.
Okay, so basically it's not a DUI, it's a DWAI. So I'm in Colorado, so that's like a lesser version of DUI. So it still have the same impacts.
Are you going to lose your license?
No, I didn't lose my license, and yeah, so they just gave me a PR bond and no money as of now with a court date.
But I mean, usually in most states, there's the criminal part, which is the DUI itself, and then there's an administrative or civil part where they try to suspend your license for like 2 months or something.
Yeah, so it's not a DUI. So it's like a DUI have a 0.08 blood alcohol, and DWAI in Colorado, it's like 0.05 to 0.08. So it's driving while
it's the most minor
yeah,
alcohol related. Okay. And where in Colorado is this?
It's in Douglas County.
I don't know where that is. Is that near Colorado Springs?
Yeah, north of Colorado Springs, like around half an hour.
Okay, so I know a really great criminal defense lawyer in Colorado Springs. You should email me, and then I can tell her what I just told you, and hopefully she can do what I need her to do.
Okay, yeah, I can get the email online. Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, there it is, right there. Just say, my name's Patel. I was on the show with Jim, and I need that criminal defense lawyer, and then I'll send you an email introducing you to her, and then you guys can go.
Okay, sounds good. And for the court date on Monday, I was thinking I'll just ask like, okay, I need another court date, and what's the plea offer? I was just thinking I'll just go with this, and then
don't ask for the plea. Don't ask for the plea offer. Just act like you don't know a damn thing, and just sort of look around like you're confused and say, "Sorry, judge, I need a little more time." That's all you do.
Okay.
I don't want you talking to anybody about your case without your lawyer there.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Yeah.
Bye, Patel.
Bye.
See ya. That was
You
some
haven't heard
good
me get
service
that
there.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's important shit. And that those emails seem really scary when the State Department sends them. And I'd be scared. And he's stuck in the United States for a good long while now, right? So those are all real things. And you
so
know,
they
with India,
basically.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say they basically want you to come back so they can say you're inadmissible.
Right. And you know, I'm a big believer in innocent until proven guilty, but they you know, it's a privilege, not a right, to be in the United States. So I think in their mind, you didn't follow the law, so that's the end of you, buddy. You're coming home and staying home.
Gotcha. Well,
Yep.
that was educational for me on that one.
That's a good one. Let's say hi to Ao. Hello, Ao.
Hi,
Hey,
hello. Hi, thank you for picking me. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jim. I've been watching your show for a long time.
Awesome.
Hi, Davis. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Okay, I came into the United States in April 2021 on a B1, B2. Then I converted. I did extension of status and converted to F1. And currently I'm in school now. I've enrolled to school now. I'm currently in my second semester in my college. I'm doing my master's degree. But
Awesome.
I was issued a form I-797C. And the form stated that if I want my F1 stamped on my passport, I have to go to my home country, which is Nigeria. And I've been thinking recently that I want that F1. Do you advise I go to Nigeria to go and apply for it?
So you're currently on F1, right? You changed
Yes.
status from B1,
From
B2 to
B1.
F1. Okay.
Yes.
So, Jim, you can correct me here, but I don't think you have to go to get that stamp. You're in F1 now, but if you want to travel and you want to come back to the United States, you're going to need to get your visa stamps for that F1. So, if you want to travel, you got to do it, and schedule that appointment. Yeah,
that's true. Now, why do you care if you're here on an F1? You're living large. You got your I-20. You're working on your master's. You're going to get OPT after that, right? You're going to be able to stay here for a long time.
Yeah.
I hope that the reason you want to go back to Nigeria is to like see people in Nigeria, not to just go get the stamp, because there's no real reason for you to have the stamp. You don't need it right now.
One of the reasons is that I wanted to go to Canada for my summer, but I learned that I can't go to Canada without a visa on my passport. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to.
So okay, now let's talk about this. When you went to the embassy in Nigeria to get your B1, B2, they asked you a couple things. One is they asked you if you were married. Were you married at the time or were you single?
I was married.
And then did you get divorced before you came on that visa, or did you get divorced when you came to the United States?
I got divorced when I came, before I came, but I started the proceeding and I finished it when I came. I didn't wait for it to finish.
Okay. So I don't know. You said you've been watching this show for a while, so you've probably heard me talk to mostly Nigerian men about all the problems with going to the embassy as a married person, getting divorced before they come to the United States or after. So everybody is on totally heightened alert about this. The State Department's on high alert. The USCIS is on high alert. They're just looking for people that went to the embassy and said, I'm coming back. I'm married. I got every reason to come back because I got this spouse. And then they come to America and they're no longer married. It's almost like there's somebody in Nigeria teaching people how to do this, right? And so in your case is a little different because usually when I talk to people about this, like they've now gotten married to somebody else, right? And now they want to start the green card process. But I think the same problem exists for you in that if you go back to that embassy to get that stamp, I believe that there's a 10 to 20% chance of people having a problem with those facts about the Nigerian married, not married anymore routine. I think that goes up. So my question to you is, if you go back to Nigeria to get the stamp in the hopes that you can then go to Canada for the summer, if you get struck by lightning and they don't let you back in and they cancel your F1, because they're not going to like the fact that you changed from a B1 to an F1. USCIS let you do it, but the embassy's not going to like that you did it because you told them you were going to come here for some other reason, not to come and go to school. Because if you told them you were coming to go to school, they would have said, this B1 ain't for you. You got to apply for an F1. So they're not going to like what you did. So I think that going to Nigeria in the hopes of getting this stamp is a big risk.
Oh, okay. But I'm still currently a student right now. I'm finishing in 2024.
Yeah, I get you. And you have an updated I-20, and that's all good. And so you bring all that to
Yeah.
the embassy,
Yeah.
and you tell them your story. What are you going to do if they say, no, your administrative processing, come back in 3 months? What are you going to do? Or come back in 6 months? Or come back in a month and then extend that for a year? What happens then? You're out of school.
Yeah.
My son came home from college yesterday, and he's sort of a nerd, and he plays Dungeons and Dragons. And on his Dungeons and Dragons, he has a dice that has 20 sides on it. I'm going to buy a 20-sided dice, because I'm going to tell, when people come up with a solution like this, I'm going to say, you've got a 20% chance of getting stuck outside the United States. Give me 4 numbers, and I'm going to roll the dice. And if your number hits, that means you're stuck. So I think you've got to operate from worst case scenario, not best case scenario. Not fingers crossed, I hope everything works out, because that's just a bad idea.
Okay, is there a way then, let's assume I'm not going to Nigeria, is there a way to apply for a tourist visa in Canada without a visa on my passport?
The question is, you entered on a B1, B2. The question isn't how do you get into Canada? The question is, how do you get back to the United States?
Yeah, that's why I was thinking I needed a visa anyway.
You have a visa, but no one is going to like that you came on a B1 and then changed to an F1. No one likes that. CBP is not going to like it. State Department's not going to like it. You're just setting yourself up for a whole lot of heartache.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Whoever you're visiting in Canada, you need to tell them to come here, visit you.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks,
so
Ayo.
much.
You got it.
Thank you very much. I
Have a good
appreciate
day.
it. God bless.
Yeah, bye-bye. See, that's why I like doing the show, because you keep people from doing things that will really hurt them.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, the one, the only, I can't believe it. Have you met Shabazz yet, Paul?
Oh, I've seen the saga.
There he
What's
is.
going on, Shabazz?
Hello,
Hi, sir.
Shabazz.
How are you, Mr. Jim? Eid Mubarak.
Eid Mubarak. How you doing, buddy?
Nice. I like your shirt. Nice hoodie.
Yeah, thanks. I really like it too.
So, Mr. Jim, the news is the same. So, I talked to my attorney and I told him that my court hearing is coming on September 1st.
Yeah.
So I told him, I request him that please send the UCIS one letter that describe that I have a court hearing with the court orders. So please process my I-30 fast. So what do you think? They will consider that letter? They will consider that this one, that I have a court hearing on September 1st for my I-30 pending, for my asylum pending?
Shabazz, haven't you told USCIS that already?
What?
Haven't you already told USCIS that when you call them once a week?
No.
They're not going to care.
I don't think they're going to care. I think the only thing that's going to make them decide that I-130 in time for your September case is to sue them.
So, Mr. Jim, one more thing. Okay, I understood. My processing time is going to finish on May 18th. So, when I check online that case processing normal processing times, it should show me that 14 months. But when I check on website, it's showing me that you can submit the question on January 10, 2024. Why it's like that?
Because they just make shit up. All that stuff's made up. Processing times are made up. The day that you can come ask them a question, it's just a way to keep you from bothering them. That's all that it is.
Why they are doing like that? What I can do? There is something my wife can do, my attorney can do?
No, what you need to do is hire me to sue them. I can get you a decision on that I-130. You do it or not. You can call here all the time. You can write them all the letters you want. That lawsuit will work. Your I-130 has been pending for a really long time. You're stuck in deportation court. You're not. If you miss that window to get the I-130 done before your court date, then you're talking another year or two for another court date.
So actually, I visited UCIS office in Houston. So the supervisor told me that I sent email already to Vermont and they send already your file to here in Houston. But when I call UCIS like 2 weeks ago, the one lady told me that your file has been transferred to UCIS in Houston. But I can't see any update on my website, UCIS website.
It's because they make stuff up, Shabazz. They just try to get you off the phone as fast as they can.
Why they are like that? I'm getting stick
Shabazz,
by day.
it's because the system is broken. There's way too many cases ahead of you, and you are one file out of hundreds of thousands of files, and your file is in two places. Your file is at USCIS, and your file is at the EOIR. That's why.
So my question is that my attorney is saying that I will write the letter to your immigration judge to postpone your hearing.
Is that what you want? I know that's not what you want, because that's all you ever. That's why we got in our first big fight, was because you didn't want to move your court date, and I agree. That's not the right play. The right play is to file a lawsuit against USCIS, asking them to decide your I-130. If you do that, I'm pretty sure that within 90 days you'll get a decision on the I-130,
But
and then you'll have it in hand for your September court date.
But Jim, I just want to know one thing, that on UCIS website, 14.5 months. But when I check case processing or check the status, why it's showing me like after 9 months, 10 months?
Shabazz, so when I used to do depositions and trial work, there was an objection that the attorneys would make, and it was called asked and answered. You already asked me that question, and I already answered it. They don't care about you. They're not listening to you. They're not paying attention to your case.
So if I go to UCI office, when I go there, they are calling the supervisor. So supervisor can do something. They will do actually.
Shabazz, this is the last thing I'm going to say, and then I'm hanging up because the show's over. Okay, you ready?
Mr. Jim, you are a great man. You are giving me some notes.
Hold on. The only thing that's going to work is not trips to USCIS. It's not calling the ICE attorney. It's not going to see the immigration judge in September. The only thing that's going to work, most likely, is to sue them. Everything else is a waste of time. With that, Shabazz, I got to go, buddy. All right. Poor Shabazz. I feel bad for him. He's been waiting a really long time. But see how insistent he is? He'd be a good paralegal, because he would just drive people crazy.
True.
He would just keep going. And God love him. But the only thing that's going to work is filing that lawsuit. All right, Paul. Well, thanks for this. I'm going to be back on Saturday at 3:30. No show tomorrow. I'll be doing a show solo from Arkansas. If I have cellular or Wi-Fi, I'll be live from 3:30 to 4:30. And Paul, I will talk to you tomorrow.
All right. Sounds good.
See you, buddy. Thanks.
See everybody.
All right. That'll do it.